Did the Citrus Bowl prove that the Vols should have started Nico all year long? Did it prove that to you? Did it prove that he should have played more at some point in the year? What is your take on the way Nico was handled after he was a superstar in his first start?
Well, I'm baffled by Josh Heupel, how he handles quarterbacks. It's not even close between Nico and Joe Milton. Not even close. In this offense, I mean, you could always say, well, he could have gotten hurt. I mean, anybody could have gotten hurt. But what he brings to this offense, what he can do as a runner that Joe Milton couldn't do, what he can do as a passer, being able to throw on the run, I don't understand it at all. I mean, maybe he just really likes Joe Milton. He wants to play a senior, whatever. But that's twice he's been wrong about quarterbacks. He was wrong about Joe Milton with Hendon Hooker. He was wrong about him about Nico. My gosh, you go play like that in your first start? I mean, Iowa's defense was pretty good. Not good as its stats, but it was pretty good. Nico was poised out there. He's got so much better football instincts than Joe Milton does. Again, not even close. At the very least, if you would have had a package for Nico in the red zone, you could have beaten Florida with Nico at quarterback. That's way back in December. That's a game Tennessee shouldn't have lost. September. So that's a game Tennessee shouldn't have lost. It was to an inferior team, but yeah, it's just it's Nico showed just why the fans saw snippets of him against inferior opponents all year. But you could see the talent. And I mean, I was talking to a guy at lunch yesterday before kickoff, and he was saying the same thing that everybody's saying after the bowl game.
So
I don't. It's. I've said all along that I thought he was had a lead ability based off what I was hearing in practice, so I was a little surprised too. And I do think he played so well that we can question the Florida game. We could have said Cooper before that point. Today's tough question: should Nico have played more or all of the season after what we saw in Citrus Bowl? Is brought to you by Andy Mason, AndyMasonRealEstate.com. Over 40 years of experience in his office, AndyMasonRealEstate.com. Best prices, best service in the biz. Pretty simple. AndyMasonRealEstate.com. Caleb?
So, John, looking at it, I'm a little friendlier to Josh than you are on this. I was very critical of him starting Joe Milton over Hendon Hooker 2 years ago. I said it at the time that I felt that Josh Heupel only did that because he had to save face for his decision to go sign Milton, because it would look bad if he went and signed Milton and then the guy he wanted lost the starting job to the guy the previous coach wanted. And so I criticized him from the start with that, and I never wavered. This time, though, are we sure that the Nico we saw in the Citrus Bowl would have been the Nico in September? I mean, we saw flashes, but we know that he was putting on weight as the year was happening. And I just worry. I mean, look, he did take a lot of hits yesterday. And the only reason I'm okay with him sitting this year is because a makeshift offensive line, Nico not as big as maybe he wanted to be. If he had taken hits like that all year, he probably wouldn't have been starting in the Citrus Bowl towards the end.
Well, I mean, you can always say that. I mean, anybody can get hurt in a game, but I've seen thin quarterbacks not get hurt. They may look like they're going to break in two when they get hit, but some of them don't. Nico could have been his own self-defense when it comes to injuries, I think, because when you have instincts, football instincts about running, about where to run, when to run, how to avoid tacklers, I think Nico has that. It really cuts down on your risk of injuries. I think he has such really good field awareness. So that might have helped. I'm not saying he would have got through the season injury-free, but if he gets hurt, then you bring Joe Milton back. You did that that's what happened with Hendon Hooker. He took Joe Milton's job early in the 2021 season. And then when he was hurt near the end of the 22 season, Milton came back and won 2 games. So you could have done that. But just, I just don't think you can play football scared. You can't coach football scared. I mean, yeah, I'm sure I've heard he put on about 15 pounds. Okay. Uh, how much difference would that have made? I don't know. I really think, though, if he plays against Florida, Tennessee wins that game. And it wasn't just what he did physically. He went out there in that game and he looked like he'd been playing for a year. He was so in control of the offense, so comfortable out there, so much more comfortable than Joe Milton ever looked.
Yeah, we use the word special, phenom. We way overuse those words. And I was trying to come up with new words to pass along what I was hearing about Nico in practice all season long. And I do believe that as far as his grasp of the game, he's a phenom. Will he be a phenom quarterback? I don't know. But I think that was pretty evident on against the Citrus Bowl. I want to say on Saturday, but in the Citrus Bowl. And John, I don't know that they would have won another game. And I would have argued with you before yesterday about the Florida game. I would have said, no, Cooper, not going to happen. I'm not arguing with you now because I think even as a first month freshman, Nico would have brought more of a sense of calm than Joe Milton did in his 18th year of college football.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a long track record with Joe Milton. And again, I mean, Joe Milton is not bereft of ability. He has some talent, but his skill set does not fit this offense. I mean, set aside the talent difference and just look at the skill sets. He would be better in a different kind of offense. Nico skill set fits this offense perfectly.
And Caleb said that, and I agree. And Caleb, it's not just Nico's ability to run that helps the offense. It's his presence and pocket awareness that I think makes him a difference maker and his ability to make reads that Joe Milton didn't have.
Yeah, John, I actually wanted to get, I don't think John's been on the show when I've given my comparisons before. So I kind of want to hear what you thought on this, John. And Dave and I have a lot of former athletes who hate comparisons, but I'm somebody who loves them. So I do them. But
Caleb, I hate comparisons.
Sorry, John, I'm still going to do it.
No, I'm just kidding.
John's going to leave. No, he's back.
So John,
John Chavis, by the way, used to say that to me once every 2 weeks.
Who did?
John Chavis. I hate comparisons. Go ahead.
I've said that there were moments in college football where a coach with a unique scheme, a quarterback who was almost created in a lab for that scheme, falls out of the sky into their laps at the perfect time. My examples are Tim Tebow was created in a lab to run Urban Meyer's spread offense, and they landed together at the perfect time. Tommy Frazier with Nebraska and Tom Osborne in the 90s. Some people say Danny Warfel and Steve Spurrier, but Dave's made the point that pretty much that Danny Warfel may have been a dime a dozen, and a bunch of other quarterbacks probably could have done the same thing at that time. But
no, that's not true.
But I think Nico Iamaleava is like that Tim Tebow to Urban Meyer, Tommy Frazier to Tom Osborne. He is that to Josh Heupel, and that it's just the perfect quarterback for the perfect system. Is that a fair comparison based on what your experience watching football?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Nico's skill set, he could look good in a lot of offenses. Yeah, sir. I think I really like the Tommy Frazier reference because he was perfect for that Nebraska offense and what Tom Osborne wanted to do. His running ability, his ability on the option, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that I guess there's some luck involved. Sure. I mean, Josh Heupel has just been really lucky with his quarterbacks. Going back to the Hooker decision, he didn't recruit Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker was here. That's the one great thing Jeremy Pruitt did. What was his second best thing? Never mind. But he did that one. He did that. He did that one. He did that one good thing. And so Josh Heupel comes in here, goes through spring practice with these guys, his several quarterbacks. His decision, I got to go get somebody else. So he goes and gets Joe Milton, who doesn't fit his offense, and brings him in. He's the guy. He's the anointed quarterback. until he plays in a game or two. So how can somebody that runs this offense not see that? It's mystifying to me.
I have a theory. You guys both may say it doesn't hold any water.
It doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold water.
It doesn't. I think you look at Joe Milton and you think you're a race car driver. You're Jimmy Johnson. Is he still driving anymore? Nobody knows about NASCAR. But anyway, you see.
No, I think he's actually retired.
Yeah, I know. It's how old we're getting. So you're Dale Earnhardt III. And so I think you see a sports car out there that's a little loose, that you like it to be a little loose because loose means faster. I'm making a NASCAR reference, but it's the fastest car. And I think you're Josh Heupel and you see that. And Milton's the fastest car because of his ability. He's got the big arm and the running ability, and you fall in love with him. I think it's that simple. And I think he fell in love with him twice. I think he thought he could turn him into an elite quarterback, and that ain't going to happen. And I'll tell you something else why I think Joe Milton played the entire year and Nico was able to save his red shirt. I think with NIL money that Josh Heupel is holding out hope that maybe in year 4 he can come up with enough NIL money to pay Nico and not go to the NFL if he turns out to be that good. Or are you laughing, John, huh?
Well, if you got that money, you could have never mind. No, but you look at Joe Milton, he's got the strong arm. Running ability, he's not even close to Nico as a runner. He's big. He can be hard to tackle if he decides he wants to run over somebody, but he often was a reluctant runner. He was a reluctant runner. He wasn't. Remember the first game against Bowling Green? He looked like he was trying not to get hit when he ran the ball. He doesn't have natural running instincts like Iamaleava does. So why, as a coach, would you think he fits your offense? Yeah, he can throw the ball. What about Nico's arm? Those cross-field throws he was making yesterday? Plenty of zip on him. He doesn't. Nobody has his arm in college football has an arm as strong as Milton, but it's not as though the drop-off is enormous. Nico made throws in that game that most SEC quarterbacks can't make.
I agree. If Joe Milton, sorry, Caleb, if Joe Milton has an A+ arm, then Nico has an A arm.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on all of this, but it's not just Nico's size. He took a lot of hits yesterday, guys. And I don't know any quarterback that isn't Joe Milton's size that could have withstood taking hits like that the whole season. And because again, now yesterday, the offensive line was much worse than it even usually is, but the offensive line had issues all year because of injuries. They could never figure out the left guard spot. And, yesterday we saw, which John, I'm calling you out too, because I think you've questioned why Josh Heupel hasn't put Dylan Sampson in earlier in the past. We saw why yesterday. Dylan Sampson can't block anything.
Yeah.
And
yeah, no, you're right about that. I mean, as far as a runner goes, he was Tennessee's best running back, but more comes with it than that. And you saw that early in the game when here comes a linebacker right up the middle, and he doesn't even nudge him or fake block him.
Not at all.
Yeah, you can't.
Good luck.
What?
Good luck to the quarterback.
Yeah. He didn't even scream to Nico, "He's coming."
He's on his way.
Look out, man.
I feel comfortable saying he's the worst pass blocking running back I've ever seen on a field.
Well, we hadn't seen enough of him, though. I mean,
well, but I
that
kind of agree with Caleb. It's year 2, for goodness sakes.
Well, that's true. I mean, do they practice that running backs block, or I mean,
you would hope so. But Trooper Taylor just got the running backs position at Texas A&M. Maybe they could call him.
Well, I mean, it wasn't as though that particular blitz was well concealed. It wasn't like somebody crouched down on a corner coming after Nico. This guy's rolling right up the middle, and Dylan did it all but shepherd him back to the quarterback. Come on this way, man. No, but I give him credit for his running ability.